And we've already got 16 attendees, 17.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad there's so many community members.
Hi, Donald. You're muted.
Hi, sir.
Okay.
I was just sitting down. I guess as you texted Angela.
Okay.
Do I need to do anything right this second, or just sit here and wait?
Attendees signing in, and whenever everybody's ready, we can go from this practice session to the real session.
I think we're in. It started.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, so I will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:31. We have a quorum, and the first item on business would be the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
flag
of
the United States of America,
and to the
and to the
republic
for which it stands,
one
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
All right, the next item on the agenda is reading and approval of the October 18th board meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion.
I'd move to approve those minutes.
And a second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the October 18th board meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda was executive session. And then following that were changes or additions to the agenda. To the agenda, we have canceled the executive committee meeting for tonight. Are there any other changes or additions to the agenda?
I have a couple, actually 3.
No.
Oh, sorry, Brenda, go ahead.
No, I just said I didn't have
Okay.
any changes.
So I have an item that came up with my, when I was doing the parent-teacher conference this week. I was told that there was going to be new math curriculum, and we had talked previously about the math curriculum for the 8th graders needing to potentially be a curriculum that like that. So, and that's been talked about before. So if that is changing, I would like to talk about that as what those options are. So, and then also previously discussed in other meetings, we would, I would like to discuss the staff complaint policy. And we've received several requests from staff for that as well. So I figured that might be something pertinent to talk about tonight.
Okay.
So, and the only, yeah,
Yes.
Brenda. Yeah.
Yes. What staff complaints did you get?
There were emails.
Because I mean, I haven't heard any.
There were emails that were sent, I thought, to all of us.
Yeah.
If not, then
So,
and then just.
oh, I was just wondering, are you asking for a change to the
I am.
policy?
And it has been requested and Leslie brought that up, I believe, as well previously, and so that is something I think we need to talk about.
Oh, policy changes, yeah. Do you know specifically which line items you want to talk about? Because we just got through with a big policy change.
Policy, the procedures for resolution for staff complaints. That's the one I'm referring to.
All right. All right. All right. I don't have my regulations with me. I don't know if we could talk about that tonight. Ralph, what do you think? I don't have my regulations with me,
Well,
or my policies. I don't
I
have
think
them
the
with me.
way this works with staff are when somebody asks for changes, is for the board to have a motion to accept those changes. Did you have any other, Beth? I thought you said three, and I
3. Yeah, no, there was another email that brought up a concern that I feel like maybe the superintendent report hasn't been complete, or how to say this, thorough maybe, that there's been incidences that have been happening at the school in classrooms that maybe the board should be aware of, just because of potential legal concern. I'm not asking for details, but it seems like that is, something that we should at least be aware of as a board, that, that should probably be included in the superintendent report, that if there's stuff, because if we're supposed to hold you accountable for, at least to just say, hey, did you follow up with this issue? Or, then we kind of need to know that stuff. So.
I don't think that we get involved in the day-to-day operations. I mean, if something is significant, there's been some significant things that he's brought to our attention, but day-to-day, Tommy pushed Susie kind of things would come to the board.
I'm not asking, and that's not what I'm asking for, Brenda. I'm asking for when there's serious allegations from parents or students or things like that, that could potentially lead to a legal issue down the road, that is something that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, I think that we should go back to the policy again then, and I know this isn't the time for discussion, Angus, I'm sorry, but maybe we should make that an agenda item and talk about what constitutes an incident, and at what severity does it have to be for it to come to the board. So maybe we can make that an, since there's, Beth brought up 2 policy things, so sounds like we need to review the policies again.
Well, my suggestion would be for Ralph to address the math curriculum issue in superintendent's report. We are going to have a workshop on November the 29th, and that's just from tonight, and that might be a good time for the policy issues on both of the Beth brought up.
Fair enough.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
As far as being able to share in superintendent report.
All right, I appreciate the consideration. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then now we are ready to enter into the public comment section. And I'm going to read a statement. This is a public meeting of the Skamania School Board. We have chosen to host via Zoom for more equitable access. It's a newer format to us all, so please be patient. The board has a meeting agenda that will be followed. During public comments, the board will not answer questions. This is an opportunity for community members to express to the board their thoughts on current meeting agenda items. The board may ask follow-up questions for clarification, but will not otherwise engage. It is the board's goal during the public comment period to hear persons interested in sharing views about the current agenda items. We have 30 minutes set aside for public comment. If you would like to speak, you must add your name and topic to the Zoom chat and wait to be called upon. Each comment will be restricted to 3 minutes, and you will be given a warning with 30 seconds remaining. When called, you will be unmuted and acknowledged. Please state your name. Please keep your comments concise and respectful. And due to the potential legal repercussions, it is requested that individual students, district employees, or volunteers not be named during the public comment. And I might say that some of the questions you might have, they might be answered during the regular course of the meeting, but they will not be addressed during the public comment period. Thank you for your respectful attendance and sharing. Okay. First comment.
Looks like we don't have anyone putting their name in the chat yet.
Okay. Again, if you wish to make a public comment, go to the Zoom chat button at the bottom and add your name. And I see 4 chats right there.
Okay, Maria, I am about to give you access. Okay, Maria, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, can you see me? And can you hear me?
See a picture of you and hear you fine.
Okay, I'm in a car at basketball practice, so I just wanted to make sure. My name is Maria Woodall, and I'm a parent of a student at Skamania School. I volunteered as a PTO member, served as PTO vice president, volunteered in the school library, and spent countless volunteer hours spearheading the Skamania School Garden and Farmers Market program. I would like to take a moment to set the record straight regarding a letter to the Skamania County Pioneer that was published on November 3rd. A board member grossly misrepresented community concerns regarding the vaccine accommodations at Skamania School, going to the paper rather than directly communicating with concerned parents and taxpayers is disappointing, to say the least. Many parents, community members, and staff members expressed concerns about the vaccine accommodations, and she dismissed the concerns, accused parents of threatening the superintendent, and showed a complete lack of professionalism and lack of willingness to represent her constituents as an elected official. She stated that the meeting was in the meeting on October 18th and tonight, that it was held via Zoom in order to be equitable. To whom, I'm not sure, as internet service in rural communities is notoriously poor. She states in the letter, the president, the governor, the superintendent of public instruction, the ESD, and the Washington state attorney directed Pruitt to follow the law or else. This is an inaccurate statement. First, law is not a law but a mandate. She states that parents are threatening to withdraw students if the school doesn't follow the law. Again, this is wrong. Parents are considering withdrawing students if the administration goes above and beyond the mandates by implementing teachers who do not comply with the administration's additional requirements above and beyond mandates.
So I think it begs the question, is the board actually concerned about advocating for the community and for parents and for students? Or are they solely more interested in just being yet another bureaucratic arm to force through what the head of the school feels needs to be done, which clearly isn't necessarily being first and foremost in these children's lives? I mean, I'm lucky. When I was in elementary school, our principal was amazing and we all loved him and wandered down the halls joking with us and did know us by name.
30 seconds.
So, I mean, I guess soapbox, but man, I think there's a very deep issue of needing to represent this community as opposed to just being concerned with bureaucracy at this point. That's all I have to say.
Next comment.
Judy, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say, after our parent-teacher conference the other day, I wanted to publicly thank Mrs. Locke, Miss Dilly, and Mrs. Ober. Thanks to actually Maria, our son is looking at some a program that requires certain things for him to be accepted to it. And Maria had kind of given us a heads up on that. So we brought that concern to the teachers, to Miss Locke and to Miss Dilly. And I just wanted to say thank you to them, because I left that PTA meeting or parent teacher meeting really very encouraged, because they took our concerns and said, you know, we're looking out for his future, and just really wanted to say a big thank you to the teachers that we met with that day, because I was really impressed and really encouraged when we left that meeting. So thank you, Mrs. Locke and Miss Dilly and Miss Sober for addressing our concerns and us leaving the meeting really happy and really just encouraged with our teachers. So thank you.
Next comment.
Okay, we have Martin. Martin, you have 3 minutes.
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Martin Lefevers. I'm a resident of Skamania County in district. I have 2 kids at the school. Follow up on that. My wife and I also really enjoyed the parent-teacher conferences, and all the teachers that we spoke with supporting my kids did a great job of communicating with us, showing us how our kids are doing, and it was awesome. So thanks a lot for that. It was great communication to our family, which is why I'm saying something today. I feel like there's a piece of communication that can come out of these board meetings. I'm not seeing any minutes being posted anywhere. I did a little hunting around at other schools and how they post meeting minutes and the kind of schedules they follow. And I feel like we are very much, the Skamania school is not posting their minutes in a timely fashion. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Mike, you have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. Recently with this election, it's come to my attention, well, actually the Skamania auditor has brought to my attention that when a candidate has left the county and is no longer a viable candidate, instead of counting the votes and giving the position to the next highest count person or candidate that had the next highest count, they quasi-certify that person, and then when that person doesn't show up, they turn it over to the board, the school board, to appoint someone. He did say that the board has a choice, that they can appoint someone, or they can appoint someone that, or the person that had the next highest amount of votes. And watching, I was really surprised by this, because I always thought that it would just go to the person with the next highest vote count if the highest vote count person wasn't a viable candidate. And I'm really curious as to how the Skamania board is going to handle this, if they're going to just appoint who they want, or if they're going to go by the vote count and appoint the will of the people. And if they decide not to vote or not to choose who had the second highest vote count and go by the will of the people, I just wanted to say that it seems the only way that the residents of this county can get anything done as far as like having their views represented kind of goes out the window. Anyway, I'd like to know what the school board's going to do about this recent election, since it basically the only viable candidates were the write-in candidates. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next comment. And we have about 10 minutes left in the public comment section.
Adam, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Adam Schaefer. I'm a parent of a student at Skamania School and also of a former student who went there K through 8. I'm very concerned about the way the certain members of the board have been treating the public basically regarding these issues, in particular the issues regarding staffing and the COVID policies. It's clear to me that the board member that wrote to the Skamania Pioneer does not understand our concerns, has made no attempt to understand them, has been presented with the facts because we have sent letters that have quoted directly from L&I, from the state superintendent, that show very clearly that the policies being implemented are by choice. They are not required, they're not by law. There's a conflation of law, mandates, recommendations, all going on in this person's letter. This person also seems to think that the President of the United States has judicial or jurisdiction powers over our state. So far, the President has not issued anything saying that the students must all be required to be vaccinated or that the teachers must all be vaccinated or anything like that. So it's clear to me that this person does not have their facts straight. They also seem to believe that the board works for the superintendent and for the principal. I would like to remind this person that the board works for the parents of the students and the voters in the district, particularly the ones, everyone paying taxes in that district. So this is also a reminder to other board members. The primary stakeholders are the parents of the students and the taxpayers of the district. The students are not the primary stakeholders. Their educational outcome is the product, essentially. So let's keep that in mind. The other thing is, I would encourage the board to not be too terrified of things that lawyers may say. Lawyers may say that you might get sued, but that comes cheap. It comes at no cost. It's just like any other accusation. I'd like the board to show a little more spine if it turns out that there is a lawyer giving them this sort of advice. I'd also like to know how, in that letter, it's revealed that that there were threats of the school losing funding or that there would be fines, and I'm not sure who gave that advice or when. I would like to know whether that was during an executive session, because if it was, that should not have been revealed. I do second the fact that no minutes are being posted in timely fashion, and I think the methodology for determining high risk status for our county has been flawed from the get-go, and Dr. Kreger, excuse me, who is the public health deputy for our county, is aware of this.
Your time is up. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Okay, next comment, and we have 5 minutes left in the comment section.
Jody, you have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yep, sure can.
My name's Jody Just. I've got 3 girls at Skamania Elementary. And I do want to thank the teachers. I had a great conference with them last week, and I was able to express to them my concerns. But I wanted just to be vocal tonight because, especially with the older children, 3rd through 8th, it's kind of a trickle-down effect with what has happened with the teachers and what's going on in our state and nationwide. But our kids are being the most affected. Our teachers are being physically assaulted. The kids can see, they can see what's going on emotionally and mentally with the teachers, with miscommunication. And they're fighting. There's kids running through the halls. My daughters are older and they can't be the only ones to see this. And they react specifically on how the teachers are feeling, and when they're overwhelmed and when they're sad and when they have to turn and look away because they're frustrated. And my daughter is now known as the class narc because she has to run and find somebody when there's a fight, or because she sees a little kid running down the halls into classrooms tearing down papers. I know these might seem little to you, but our kids they're the ones they're pawns right now. And all of this stuff going on is directly affecting them, whether they tell you or not. And I hope that we're all checking in with them every day, because what is going on in this small little school is affecting our kids' learning and affecting how they're feeling about themselves, emotionally, spiritually, and, you know, especially with happening with Sheila and Pete. I mean, we have to be better as a community. We have to communicate better. Our kids know the difference between lies and between trust, and we're telling them to trust their teachers and to trust everybody in that school, but they can see that there's distrust amongst everybody. And our kids are smart, and they're learning how to defend themselves, and they're taking advantage of it. And I just, you know, this is happening in other schools, but they're bigger, you know, so they can survive. And this school only has 65, 70 kids with 9 to 10 teachers. And there has to be a solution. There has to be more communication. There has to be a better way, because we're kind of sending our kids into a war zone. And I have 2 kids that are struggling. And I know that we as a community can make this better. And I just hope that other parents or individuals on this phone call can see that too, because our kids shouldn't be pawns in this game. It should never be a game.
Thank you. And that is the time up for the public comments section. Now it's reports of officers, boards, and standing committees. And the first item is the budget report. And I have actually a year-end report from last fiscal year, which ended August 31st. In the general fund, we had total revenues of $1,346,730. Total expenditures of $1,268,635. So we collected $78,090 more than we spent. And the ending fund balance is a very comfortable $426,483. In the capital projects fund, we had total revenues of $1,942,555, and we had total expenditures of $2,003,506. And the reason for that is just the overlap between when we're getting payments and getting reimbursed by that federal grant. At any rate, the ending fund balance for the capital projects fund was $236,032. In the transportation fund, we had total revenues of $13,465, and we actually didn't have any expenses. So our ending fund balance in the transportation fund was $102,090. As far as current year, as of the end of October, our budget in general fund of $1,583,290, we've collected 13%, or $206,532. And expenditures, we budgeted $1,711,237, and we spent 13.57% of that, or a total of $232,145. And so we spent so far in the general fund $25,613 more than we've taken in revenue, but at this time of the year, that is totally to be expected, and we still have a current ending fund balance of $400,000. In the capital projects fund, we budgeted $3 million for revenues, and we have actually received $1,768,509, or 58% of the budget. We budgeted $3,165,000 for expenditures, and we've actually spent $1,748,663, or 55% of the amount. And we have a total balance of $255,000 in the capital projects fund. And the only activity capital project is the remodeling of the school, so the total revenues are grant revenues. In the transportation fund, we budgeted $13,501, and we've actually received $16.45. And so our ending fund balance is exactly the same because we haven't spent anything. Any questions on the financial reports?
Did we make the last payment for the remodel?
No, it hasn't been made yet. And Keith will be addressing the remodel status in short order.
All right. And then also, has there been any revenue realized from the logging?
And Ralph will cover that in the superintendent's report.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, ready for bills and payroll. All right, the first one is a little strange. It is actually a cancellation of a payment that was made prior, and that was to Napa Auto Parts. And so we're canceling $163.65. And I would be willing to hear a motion.
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the cancellation in the amount of $163.65. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Aye for me as well.
And for accounts payable, we have capital projects fund rather. It's warrants 188 through, and it's only 188, that one warrant, totaling $80,156.80. And that is to Partech Construction, and that's a payment on the remodel. And I'd be willing to hear a motion on that.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Regular accounts payable. Warrant numbers 29006 through 29038, totaling $25,040.79. And the largest item on there is payment to the ESD, and that's $8,442.75. I'd be willing to hear a motion.
So moved.
Move to approved, or second, fine.
It's been moved and seconded to approve payments of warrant numbers 29006 through 29038, totaling $25,040.70. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Was it
Aye.
70 cents or 79 cents?
I'm sorry?
Was it 70 cents or 79 cents?
79 cents.
Okay.
79. And payroll. Gross pay $52,438.73. Employer paid benefits $24,866.72. The total payroll for November $77,305.45. And that's warrant numbers 28997 through 29005. And I'd be willing to hear a motion.
I move we pay the teachers' wages.
Second.
Well, it's other people too, Brenda.
Okay.
Let's pay the
All
people
right,
we need to pay.
I'll just say so
Okay.
moved.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the payroll in the amount of $77,305.45. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item is superintendent's report.
Okay, parent-teacher conferences, we appreciate those that were able to come. We had 89% participation in parent-teacher conferences. We have current enrollment of 71. Just recently, we have 6 new students. 4 of those students are from brand new staff members, and 2 are boundary exceptions. This is quite an increase from last year when we lost enrollment due to COVID. Remind people that I will be on medical leave starting on Wednesday. As you recall, this is a rescheduled surgery from the spring. Jerry Lewis, retired superintendent from White Salmon, is going to cover for me while I'm gone. I was going to tell an inspiring story about some children today that I interacted with that I was extremely impressed with. I think in light of time tonight, and also I want to thank those that commented earlier today in the public comment section. This is certainly a difficult time for our school. I think that these issues that have been brought up is a stress test for us as a community. I certainly feel the contention, the anger, the distrust, and just where this is going. And I hope that we can resolve and move forward. But that is the end of my superintendent report.
I thought we were going to talk about the math thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me share about math. Thank you, Beth, for reminding me. So as you've heard before, Vicki Herdina has been working with our staff and looking into math. First step is to find a screener so we can identify the strengths and weaknesses of our children. She's identified a few screeners and she's talked to the staff about that, and we'll be continuing to talk about that until one is selected, a basic screener to find out where our math skills are. After that screener is selected and then we get some data from that, we'll be using that to identify what kind of curriculum we need to look at. And those are always brought to the board for final approval. It's a long process, just like it was with our reading curriculum. But Vicki Herdino is working with the staff on this very topic.
Okay, so the current curriculum that was being taught at the beginning of the year is still going to continue until all of this is figured out?
The curriculum we have in the school and the resources we have in the school will continue. Yes.
Ralph, how is it going with that reading curriculum?
Well, we can put that on an agenda for future because it would be good to share with you how our reading screeners are and where our children are. And we'd be happy to put together a report.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is unfinished business, timber harvest update.
Okay, so I have a report from Travis from HFI. We received a total of $173,140.89 from are the proceeds from the harvest. It seems like everything went well for the district in favor of the harvest. We had great log prices, a reasonable logging price, and the harvest cut out higher than Department of Natural Resources crews that we're basing the estimate on. Our science class would like to study the pros and cons of either burning the slash piles or herbicide treatment and follow up with a report to the board in the future. Both would be an expense to the school district. If we choose to do either, it'd be best to complete them prior to planting to reduce the risk of damage to the seedlings. HFI highly recommends spraying to prevent competing vegetation for the first couple of years, but they understand herbicides can be a sensitive subject, especially around children. Pile burning is mainly aesthetic, but it does also create a little more planting space by removing the majority of each pile. There is some wildlife habitat benefit to leaving the piles, and the additional trees that can be planted is fairly negligible. HFI will work with us on these projects if needed. The next required step is that HFI will get the property planted with Douglas fir seedlings January through April. A couple hundred trees for the kids to plant will be set aside and leave on the area open that's easily accessible. After planting, HFI will inspect the seedlings for a couple years and advise if any issues arise. Depending on how the school district's budgeting works, it would be beneficial to set aside $300 to $500 per acre that was harvested for treating competing vegetation or planting additional seedlings if needed. So you'll hear more information in the future, and look forward to seeing the project that the science class will be working on in order to address some of these questions.
Okay, thank you. Next item is modernization grant update from the construction service group. Keith.
Find the mute button there. Thank you.
Okay.
Like to quickly just kind of run through where we're at and where we're going to go with what's left. The board just approved the contractor's last progress payment for about $80,000. The work is done. We are holding, as state law requires, 5% of his contract. So we've got 137,000 in not contingency, in retainage that he'll invoice for here probably at the end of December. As you recall, the original budget for the project, construction project, was 2.8 million. We had a low bid. We had two bids, and one of them was at budget. The other one was significantly low. After we vetted the contractor and confirmed that they were comfortable with their cost, we engaged them for 2.4 million. And then because we had some savings first from the budgeted amount, we were able to bring in a couple of additive alternates from the contract, and that included carpeting, a couple other things. Total contract was 2.7 million. Again, the original budget was 2.8. With that, we had $600,000 in contingency, basically remaining from what we anticipated. We turned around and made a couple of big decisions early. Those decisions were to do the right thing for the first time in that building in many years, and that's to abate a lot of the hazardous material, the legacy hazardous material in the building. Did that, and then we purchased furniture, and then their basic discovery of things as we built out the project. Rotted wood repair, additional painting. There were things such as that. Ultimately, with added work at the portables, which the grant will not pay for, the portables had $60,000 worth of additional work that we did in painting and, in carpeting, fire alarm, some plumbing work, that type of thing. Overall, we extended over the construction budget, including sales tax, by $161,000. We had anticipated using $100,000 of capital funds sometime midsummer as we saw this approaching. But late in the project, very late in October, we had a couple of requirements by the PUD and by Labor and Industries on our electrical service that hit us hard at the very end for, where'd it go? About $21,000, $22,000 came as a bit of a late punch, but they would not connect the electrical feeders had we not engaged in those or brought in those. Basically, the building was worn out. This modernization grant was one of the best things to happen. We did extend again over our skis a little bit, $161,000 above the construction budget, but we were also considering capital funds for that, and we took on the portables. And with that, we also purchased about $250,000 worth of new furniture. So all in, the building's been modernized. One of the things that came out of all of this, aside from things we repaired and things we found during construction, and I have to tell you, it was very aggressive. I don't know if you recall, but I was handed the project in March and was told the substantial completion date was September 6th. We couldn't start until the day school got out. And by the way, school started September 7th. And I don't think I've ever been under the gun so much on a small project in my life as this one, but we ran pretty quick. But in all of this, we had a couple of opportunities to find some things to maybe avoid some issues in years to come. We discovered that the septic system is in need of some work. We don't know how much work yet. It needs an assessment. but we know it's some. The first indication was that it is a very old system and the drain fields are at risk. That said, I've already spoken with engineer about it, talked to Ralph about it. I reached out to OSPI and discussed urgent repair grants, what those might look like from them to address that, so that maybe next summer, if we can get our things in motion, that we go after it. The one thing I was promised by OSPI is that they'll certainly issue a planning grant. And then as far as repairs, that's to be seen. The money's out there, but the grant closes December 9th of this year, so I'm putting it on the table. I'm going to have a conversation with Ralph before he goes out and just see if I can get that out there, so at least we can let them know we're thinking about it, but add that to all of the capital issues. Along with the work, we also did some routine maintenance and some plumbing. We changed out a couple toilets and handled some pest control. We did get into a lot of ants in the building, both carpenter and sugar ants, as well as other rodents. You guys know the voles out there, the moles out there, pretty significant, but I think we got a lot of the mice. So the whole idea was to clean it up, get it modernized. We scrubbed it out, this good looking building, proud of the project. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, with holding the reins as best we can, we're about 161 over project budget, but not over grant funds. I realize as I put this together, but I haven't spoken to the total grant cost. So I'll do that next board meeting and just, it's all in there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm so focused on construction that that's what I've been looking at, but total grant, we're within our grant capabilities and in pretty good shape. So between that and some support from the capital fund for the portables, that type of thing, it came together very well. So again, I think the last two, I think it was Beth, maybe not, asked the question about the contractor's last invoice. They've invoiced for the work, but there will be one last invoice for the retention, the retainage we're holding. And we hold on to that to get them to finish anything that's left unfinished. Okay, that's our club, if you will. And finally, to wrap this up, there is one unfinished item. The building is operating right now by thermostats, much similar to your house. There's 5 different air handling units and ERVs and HRVs, they call them. And they're run by thermostats. The idea is we want it on a digital automated control system. It's been built and designed for and paid for. Contractor ordered the last of the contacts. They're supposed to be here. These are months out, supposed to be here in December and installed. When those show up, doesn't change anything in your world except that from remotely, you can control your building systems and know what your heating, ventilating, air conditioning is doing. So we'll be able to do that here pretty quick. But again, the building's operational. We had, I think, some lingering issues with heat in the gymnasium, and I was advised that that has been corrected, Ralph. So if it feels better in there, I was told they took care of that Friday. It was adjustments. One of the Washington state laws, this is more than you guys really want to know, but I have to share this stuff with you. One of the requirements, Washington state, we have the most aggressive indoor air quality laws for schools in the country. So one of the things we have to do is bring a lot of outside air in, keep the air and exchange it and exchange it and exchange it, so you're heating a lot. And I think part of the issue we were dealing with in the gymnasiums, we're bringing a lot more outside air in than the unit was telling itself to heat up. So I think that was corrected, Ralph. That was the issue they were dealing with there. So beyond that, that's I guess take any questions you've got. I pretty much rambled here through my part of the work.
Any questions for
Hi,
Keith?
Hi, Keith. This is Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi. Hey, I wanted to know, since the deadline was in September, and it sounds like there's still a punch list left for the construction. how long before the project is completed, absolutely completed?
That's where I was getting at. When he gets those contacts installed in December, then we're going to release everything. And then we can advertise for lien releases from all the subs. That's a 45-day process. The board will have to approve the project, and then it has to go. I've got to send out to Labor and Industries, Department of Revenue, and Enterprise Services a notice of project completion. They have to agree and send it all back. So contractor is done. He'll invoice for retainage, as I indicated, in December. We won't allow him to invoice for that until those contacts that I'm talking about are installed and operational. But those are the last things holding him up. We've gone through all the owner training. And I think I've answered your question. His final invoicing was last of this month, just approved it. And his work is done, except, as I indicated, some HVAC connections, parts that we're waiting on the world supply chain to fill in.
All right, so you have to forgive me. I'm about to go through a dead zone. But so the HVAC is the last thing. There's no touch-up paint. There's no carpet issues. Everything is done except for the HVAC.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Keith? Well, I might say that you're proud of the project, but we sure are too. It turned out beautiful. We're really happy with it.
I'll tell you what, a coat of paint goes a long way. Coat of paint,
new carpet, new furniture, the whole thing.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm happy. Like I said, it's been enjoyable just because it's such a beautiful look behind me on the screen. It's such a beautiful part of the world. I like being there. So anyway, it did well, and the school staff excellent to work with. Of course, Dr. Pruitt, he was just awesome to work with, and also kind of a big club. I hated having to explain to him why we had to spend another nickel. All right, it's just it's an old building, so but it was good to work with.
Okay, let me ask you one question, and this came up in the chat. Several places in the building, there's wire hanging down with a small box on the end of it.
I think those have been fixed. I think those have been secured.
Oh, I think.
Okay. Yeah, what they were was an unscoped element of the communication system that was not in the contractor's work. When the ceilings came down, it got to be a who owned it thing, to be honest with you. There really was no good, they're wireless access points is what they are. They're wireless adapters. They have to be in the room. So we went in here a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, and basically just secured them back to the ceiling with something as simple as Velcro. In 5 years, those will change out to a different device. In 5 more years, they'll change out to something else.
Okay.
So, that type of thing. And if there are any that we missed, I'm happy to deal with it. I think we went through here about 10 days ago and addressed it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
That also goes for the ceiling tiles. The ceiling tiles was not part of the scope, isn't that right?
Correct. Right. The ceiling tiles remained. The idea, as I understand it, was the old false ceiling that was there came out, but there was by design and by understanding a clean hope that most of that old ceiling was usable, and most of it was. We had a budget number for ceiling repairs that we did do quite a little bit. I think we did, I can tell you here in just a second, almost $24,000 in total repair to the ceiling itself, or the ceilings throughout the building. And of course, that didn't touch everything. And there are certain tile in there that are irreplaceable. They're legacy tile. And in fact, I'm watching for those as I've got another building under demolition up in Kelso. When I get my hands on a few of them, I know where we can use them in Skamania, true story. So, but that's the type of thing. So we did repair what we could, we replaced what we could, and then patched what we could. That's a fair answer.
Okay, thanks. All right, thanks a lot, Keith. Appreciate it. See you next
Thank you.
month.
See you guys next month.
Yeah, thank you, Keith.
Thank you. Talk to you tomorrow, Ralph.
Okay, the next item is health and safety information. Ralph, is there any update on that?
Just briefly, if you go to the Skamania County Health Department, you'll notice that Skamania County is still in a very high category as far as infection rates and a low vaccination rate. And schools in the region are still experiencing COVID cases among staff and students. However, fortunately, at Skamania School, we have not experienced recently positive cases. But that's my report.
Okay. Just one second. Had to respond to a text message. Okay, new business, board member opening. Acknowledge and announce board member resignation, position 4, Leslie Robb. Leslie submitted her resignation on December the 27th, and we have that posted. The second posting in the Pioneer is this Wednesday, and the position or the application period closes on December 8th. I know Beth had some concerns the last time, but because it was too short a period of time. So we have from the 17th to December the 8th for interested people. And it's also on the website. Okay.
Hey, Angus?
Yeah.
I wonder, since Beth thought that the application process time was too short, maybe we should have put that on our agenda as another policy item, so that it's an absolute, I don't know, I thought it was 2 weeks, but maybe, I mean, I'm not sure how long Beth wants it to be, but maybe we should make that an agenda item.
Well, why don't we discuss it in our board workshop?
Okay.
Perfect.
So currently, there's not really a set time period for that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And the legal requirement, I think, is only one posting in a newspaper general circulation, which is the Pioneer for us. But we have chosen to post it 2 weeks so that we can get further information out. Okay, personnel, resignations. Ralph, you want to handle that?
Yeah, so I suggest you do these together.
Okay.
This was on last month's agenda. We talked about these items. What we didn't get was the motion and the approval on those. Those are listed in the agenda. The 2 resignations and the 4 that are recommended for hire to ratify those people. They've actually started. This would be a ratifying of all of these, actually.
So
Okay.
do we not, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm not trying to interrupt. Do we not need to vote and accept Leslie's resignation?
The policy says we acknowledge it. We don't vote to accept it.
Okay, because I thought we did that with Bob, and so I was confused there.
Yeah, we did it with Bob, and that's how we found out that we didn't have to do it, that we are only supposed to acknowledge a resignation as a board.
Okay, and then I saw in the comments that Leslie wanted to make a statement. Is that something we can accommodate?
Why don't we do it after we do board member or other topics?
Okay.
And I hope that's okay with you, Leslie, so we can just go ahead and get through the agenda. Okay, board member.
Angus?
Yes.
Never mind. I'll wait.
Okay. Okay, board member, other topics, community outreach, updates, and discussion.
What? Hold on, Angus.
Okay.
Remember the personnel? We've got to have a motion to approve those.
Oh, That's what we missed the last month, didn't it?
Right. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I would entertain a motion to accept the resignations and the recommendations to hire as submitted.
I would move to accept those resignations and the hires as indicated here.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resignations and recommendations to hire. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I am in favor.
Okay. Then motion passes. We got it this month, Ralph. Okay. Now, community outreach update and discussion. Any community outreach? Okay. Then minutes in the website. And this came up in one of the public comments today. And it had also come up, Leslie brought it up, and I had noticed it too. And that's on the website. Under board, we have a tab that is agenda and also a tab that's minutes. And the ones that's agenda, the agendas are there, but there's nothing there under minutes. And when Ralph and I talked about it, and he was saying that in the past, well, why don't you relay that, Ralph?
Yeah, they had been posted. I think it was the first or second year that I was there, and then oversight from then on, and then so let's get it back on there. And if the board would like us to consistently put minutes because you approve them the next week, we can scan them and get them on there. So happy to do that.
I'd like to do that, please.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree too, because number one, we're shooting for transparency, and that does gives us more transparency out there.
And
Okay.
it also gives the community an opportunity to look at the minutes and see if it's something that they want to comment on or participate in.
Yeah. Well, of course, the minutes would not be in there until the board approved them, which is at the next meeting.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, board workshop, November 29th, 2 weeks from tonight. And we've got on there several items for discussion. One is staff complaint policies and procedures. And Ralph, you jotted them down. I didn't. Can you state them out?
Let me look back.
Okay.
Heather, did you get those in minutes?
Oh, I know one of them was choosing a board member. Also.
Give me 1 second. I'm bringing this back up.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Staff complaint policy was it, and new math curriculum. We talked about that already. I think that's it, wasn't it? Staff complaint and choosing a board member.
Staff complaint policy, requested the policy change, policy procedure, and then the math curriculum.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we need to talk about what I like how Brenda worded it, but like what kind of maybe set a policy or adjust our policy for what constitutes what needs to be brought to the board as far as you know, we don't want to interfere with the day-to-day, but if it's a significant issue, and what defines the significant issue that needs to be brought to the board.
Okay. Any other topics that anybody can think of that we need to put on that workshop?
Oh, the time frame for, we also talked about the time frame of the new board posting.
Yeah.
Or the, yeah.
Okay. All right. Then if there's nothing else, the regular meeting is adjourned at 7:45. And Leslie
Wait.
said, that
Leslie needs to do her comment, please.
Leslie said she would like to make comments, and so we'll do it at the end of the meeting. Leslie, you can speak.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure can.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I was very encouraged to see the interested parents at the board meeting last month on October 18th. Their enthusiasm for wanting to get involved was very inspiring. And I'm so glad there are so many people who are showing interest to serve on the board. I really appreciate the public comments today too. So thank you to all the parents who were here and who participated. I have really enjoyed serving on the school board for the last 10 years. I've been accountable, I've been helpful, and I've done my best to be professional. However, the last month, after I questioned some of the methods of how things were done at the school, I got to experience some of the bullying, retaliation, and hostile work environment that some of the past employees spoke about. And that was really eye-opening for me. And I think it's really our job as a school board to listen to our constituents. And I am sad to admit that maybe in the past we did not fully investigate when we heard the claims of former employees when they may have mentioned things like that. We took Ralph's slant on things as truth. And in the future, school board members, I really implore you to question and think about maybe not just what is said, but what is not said. So for example, in the emails we might receive, if it says grades K through 2 will not be affected by the change in the schedule, well, then that means grades 3 through 8 will be affected. And we need to start asking more questions and demand accountability because, like you said, the students are not an experiment and they're not just numbers. And this year has been an incredible amount of change for them. I hope as board that you take back the agendas and take back those executive sessions and find time to speak freely with just yourselves and use the checks and balances that are in our scope and sequence for a reason. I am not opposed to the board. I really respect all of you. I think you're fabulous to work with, and I appreciate the time that you put into this volunteer position. I am just concerned about how the school is being run right now, and I feel right now personally there's some resentment building in me, and until that resolves, I would not be a very great board member, which is why I'm stepping down. But I do wish you all the best, and I will be keeping Skamania School in my thoughts and prayers as we continue on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And the meeting has been adjourned.
Wait a second. Thank you, Leslie, for all the time and the years that you put into the school board. You've always been so meticulous and articulate. And I've really enjoyed our discussions and our banter over the years. And I just wish you continued success in whatever other volunteer venture that you decide to throw your hat into. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And that concludes. Good night, everybody. Thank you for a good meeting.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
All right. Thank you.